Hi everyone, if you've been following along with the other videos where I've been comparing some of the Derwent pencils and also offering a little bit of an insight into some of the information in my book, Drawing Animal Portraits in Colour Pencil, I've been showing you how to prepare you doing your pressure test from the book, and then we've looked also at some of the mark making techniques that are in the book, from scumbling, circular work, flicks, tapers, loose circles, and a little bit of indenting. So you should have done a pressure test before getting to this point, and also you should be aware then of the different strokes that we're looking at. So here we've got stippling, a little bit of our back and forth and scumbling smooth strokes, our texture strokes, striking strokes, and a bit of indenting using the same techniques. So if you watch those videos, the links are below. What we're going to do now is move on to showing a side-by-side comparison of these pencils. So the ChromaFlow, the Drawing, and the Lightfast. And you'll have seen me in one of the other videos choosing the other colours. So I've tied in the colours, the best match for a yellow ochre throughout, a Mars orange throughout, a black and white, and a Mars violet. When I was explaining the difference between each of the pencils, I was also explaining that some of them, obviously like the ChromaFlow, really highly beautifully pigmented, high chroma, they're going to work beautifully on our black paper. But also there's a huge difference between working with smooth papers and working with textured papers. So what I've done is I've pulled out, now this is what we're going to call light colour paper, so or light paper. So a Lightfast paper is an off-white paper. We're going to use that as our light shade or tone of paper, and we are going to use our Derwent Black Mixed Media as our smooth version of black paper. Does that make sense? Let me just tear that out. So I'm going to pop the Derwent Lightfast and the Mixed Media off to one side. Oh, don't know where that's just come from. Okay. And for our textured papers, I'm going to pull in some Canson Mi-Teintes Touch. And this is really textured. It's designed more for pastel work, but a lot of colour pencil artists do use it. And Pastelmat, which is my favoured textured support. It's not. Neither of these are true sanded surfaces. They are textured surfaces. Pastelmat don't do a pure black, hence why I'm using the Mi-Teintes. So for the white or the light colour, I'm using Pastelmat in white, and you will see the huge difference between this and the Derwent Lightfast for the colour. Let's tear that one out. Okay, so if I just show you, you can see instantly the difference between the white is a pure bright white and our Lightfast is an off-white. I'm going to turn my light a little bit there as well so you can see that better. So I want to show you a side-by-side, one of the different, the different pencils, and it will show the different qualities of the pencils as well. And then you'll see the difference between them even more so on textured paper as opposed to the smooth paper, how one will grip it compared to the other, and also how each one shows up on the black paper. So I'm going to write on each paper first of all. Obviously you can see that that's Mi-Teintes Touch. The textured papers are on one side, so I'm just going to write on each one what they are so that you can see on the screen as I work. Now let's get them all lined up nicely. So we've got a nice even, there we go. Obviously the Mi-Teintes Touch is obvious because it's what it says, and also we've got that border going around there. I lift all of my pads out of the way. Okay, So those were the pencils that we chose again. Remember, we've got a black and a white and a few colours that match across the ranges. So I just need to come in. So this is the Derwent Lightfast or Smooth. And this is the Pastelmat Textured. So this is the Mi-Teintes, but it's very important that this is Touch, not just Mi-Teintes. So again, this is Textured. And of course I'm going to need a white to write on here. This is the Derwent Mixed Media. And again, this is Smooth. Okay, so you can see that clearly on the screen. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do the pressure test again, and then a few of the strokes, and then we're going to do some layering and some blending, and then you can just see the difference between them. So I will start off with, let's go straight on to, we'll go on to the lighter colours first. Let's do the lighter colours first. So I'm going to come on first of all with the equivalent of our yellow ochre in each. So we'll start off with, I'm going to do the Derwent Chroma Flow first of all, and we're going to do a short version of the pressure test. Okay, and I'll do exactly the same here on this side. Okay, so that is our, I could do with a separate pencil. So I'm going to put D. Okay, so DC is going to be our Chroma Flow. DL will be Lightfast and DD will be Drawing. I'm going to zoom in on these whilst I'm doing them, and then you'll be able to see them a bit clearer, and then I'll be able to show you them all at the end. So next up, directly below them, I will do the Derwent Drawing using the similar colour. I'm going to try and do it as close as possible. So this is actually going to be quite surprising for me as well. I tend to use these obviously on the Pastelmat more. So that's the Derwent Drawing, so I'll do a double D for that one. Now we'll do the Derwent Lightfast. I'm using exactly the same pressure across them. Ooh. Now, straight away from that, I can see just how well the Chroma Flow have gone down on the smoother paper. The Lightfast has gone down beautifully, so if you've got a slightly heavier hand, using the Lightfast on the Lightfast paper, you will have a slightly less grip, so you'll get a much softer look and lay down. The Pastelmat grips it a little bit more, but to be honest, I know I can get a lot more layers over here, but that is a really, really nice. It's gone down smoother over here than it has on the smooth paper, so that's really unusual. Well, let's do it in the black as well, and then you get a better comparison. So we'll do black with our Chroma Flow first of all. And then let's do our black over here on the Pastelmat. Okay. Derwent drawing next. This is going down so beautifully over here on the Lightfast paper. Can you see how much that grips? Beautiful, beautiful richness there. There is a difference. You can see the tooth, the grain over here. But it's just interesting just to do this side-by-side comparison. So this is the Lightfast now. And again, even though I know that Lightfast is really beautiful and rich and opaque, it's going down a lot softer than the Chromaflow or the Derwent drawing. You can see the softer result there. See how much more opaque that is there. So I'll do some flicks now as well. We'll do some flick strokes, some of our tapered strokes. And what I'll do as well is I want to do a real concentrated little box. So the flick strokes is literally, I'm going to sharpen up and just show you how well it holds a point and the width of our actual nib. As sharp as I can get each of them. So this is going to be the Chromaflow first of all. I'll do the Chromaflow. So we'll do some flicks across. I'm turning it just so I can maintain. See, it's starting to thicken up. That's it wearing down. So that was the Chromaflow. So the next will come in with the Derwent drawing. Now the Derwent drawing, remember, is a thicker core. So you'll see instantly that I can't get quite as thin a line, even by turning my pencil. It's a much thicker line that's going down. Now this one is the Lightfast, so this one should hold its point nicely and also give us a lovely, nice, sharp point. And you can see it's quite consistent, and that's where the quality oil maintains. So if you want one that holds the point for longer, then the Lightfast is working beautifully to do that there. So the conclusion from that, you can keep testing these for ages as well. Conclusion for those is obviously the Derwent drawing is the thicker, more opaque one, but the Chromaflow has given it a really good run for the money. The Derwent drawing, obviously, because we know it's a thicker core, is more difficult to get our fine precision points down, but it will give a coverage, a much deeper coverage. You can see here on the Pastelmat that the drawing ochre and the black both gave a much deeper, thicker, richer, opaque finish, especially compared to the Lightfast and the Chromaflow in the black, which came out quite similar actually. So if you want a really rich, thick underpainting, like I said, was why I use the drawing, then that is a really, really nice result. We're going to do some blending as well, and also then if you want a pencil that holds a nice, firm, consistent point, then it's the Lightfast there. The Chromaflow does, but the drawing, obviously we knew it was going to be a thicker one anyway. So like I say, these are just small experiments. I can do little experiments like this that go on like forever. So the last one I want to do, and I'm not going to do the flicks on the Pastelmat, I'm going to do just a little bit of blending, because remember they said, Derwent say that best blending comes from 12 layers. So we're going to use my standard pressure, that light to medium pressure, and I am going to combine 3 pencils. So I'm going to combine the black, the lavender ash, and I think I'll use the Mars orange, or the spice. So we're going to do 3 blocks on each paper, and this is going to be, we're going to do, well, let's just see, let's just do 8 blocks. So I'm going to do a block, of black on each one. This is exactly the same pressure. I'm not going to draw a square or anything. And then I'm going to use, so that's one layer, okay, one layer. So now I'm going to use the spice. So that's 2 layers. And then I'm going to use our lavender ash. So I'm trying to make sure that I do not go back in over the previous stroke. That's 3 layers. And then I'll repeat. So this time I'm going to go sideways down just to that's the black. That's 4. The orange. That's 5. And the lavender. Okay, so you should see a difference now forming between working on smooth paper and the rough paper. Can you see how much the textured paper is grabbing the pigment more? So that was 6. So black again. That's 7. The orange. Eight. And the lavender. 9. And one more go with each of them. I can start to feel this becoming really smooth now. It's feeling lovely. 10. 11. And we'll finish with our lavender ash. This is blending lovely. So that's 12 layers. And I can see, yes, it's much more intense over here, much softer on the smoother paper. But those 12 layers that they gave us as a guide is absolutely spot on. So I'm going to do exactly the same now. So that's the Chroma Flow. So I'm going to just do the same, a couple more boxes here, using the Derwent Drawing and the Derwent Lightfast. I won't show you those, I'll just get on and do them exactly the same way and then come back to you once they are done. Right, so here are the results from just doing the side by side there and the 12 layers. I didn't quite get to 12 layers with the Derwent Drawing. I could have stopped at 6, and you can see here. So here, let's turn that light around, it's better. So here at the top is the Chroma Flow. Now this is 12 layers, so 3 of each colour 4 times. And here on the left is just the first 3 colours, so a black, then the ochre, then the Mars Violet, or the lavender ash. And I've done the same here, so that's 3 layers, this is 12 repeating them. Same here, this is 3 layers on the side. With the Derwent Drawing I could have stopped at 6 layers, especially on the Pastelmat where it was gripping it even more. And here down at the bottom, so you can see as well that the colour is coming out, the blend is coming out slightly differently on the smoother paper as it is to the Lightfast and the Pastelmat, and the Pastelmat where it's that brighter white. So this is why I always say to everyone, do that pressure test, do a little practice with your strokes as well, And if you're unsure about doing an area, like representing a piece of fur or a piece of shiny some object or something, do a little inch square, building up your layers and then texturising, trying your different strokes until you're happy with your mix and your blend of your colours, your hues, your tones and your pencil strokes before you get going, and then you know that you're not going to be experimenting on your actual drawing, even though I'm usually quite guilty of that. And also you'll get an idea of how many layers you'll get down. So the last thing I want to show you here is I'm going to pick up my white pencil in each one. And I'm going to come in on my smooth paper and I'm going to do some flicks. So that's the chroma flow. This is the Derwent drawing. So you'll see, and here's the Lightfast. So you'll see that those marks are showing to a degree. So I'm going to come in now over on the Pastelmat. So the Pastelmat, Derwent drawing, and here's the Derwent Lightfast. So you can see, even with all of those layers down, that you can still get a light over dark. Now, you can't do it as much on this over here. You can't get a pure light bright colour over the top. I'll try it with the yellow ochre and the Dijon as well in those. So the chroma flow, it's very faint here because there's not much to grip to. But on the Pastelmat, you've still got a nice amount of grip. It's amazing that you've got some going down on it, but this is just to show that you can get colour in over the top of your darks, but that is where your textured paper offers it to you much more. You'll see you get a much better, so when you see people saying, oh, I can't get my light to show up over my dark, switch to a textured paper. If you really want to use that technique, switch to a textured paper, okay? And it will work so much better than trying. I'm using quite a lot of pressure there on the smooth paper. It just doesn't show up as much. That is the key thing about working between smooth papers and dark papers. Smooth papers and textured papers. Textured paper grip the pencil more, allows for more layers, and it also allows you to work light over dark. Smoother papers, if you wanted to preserve those lines, remember you would need to have done these little flick strokes using your stylus, that's the word, right at the beginning, and then you can sink some white pigment down into those little stylus lines right at the beginning, and then you'd come in over the top of those lines and start building your layers. And that is the only way to truly get the bright white lines to show through. And even then you're going to have to be really careful and keep repeating and either removing the pigment from those inside of those lines as you build. But that is the only way to truly get those lines on there. Whereas on a textured paper, you can come in, just use a little bit more pressure, and you can create those lovely flicks with your pencil and get them to show up a lot more. So that's the main difference between the two, the smooth and the textured papers. Oh, my words are all over the place today. Okay, so I'm going to repeat some of this now over on our dark paper. So I'll move this away. I'm going to I'll do the pressure test. I'll do the flicks using a white pencil. And I'm going to bring in as well some of the colours and just mix and blend some of the colours on our dark paper just to see how well they show up. So let me move it up just so you can see which paper is which again. And this time I will grab, first of all, I'm going to grab my white from each. We'll do exactly the same. We'll do our start here. So we'll start with our chroma flow and we'll do our texture pressure, I keep saying texture test, pressure test. So this is on the smooth paper first of all. Building up, pressing as hard as we can. And then we'll do exactly the same over on this side. So here you can really visibly see the tooth as well. It's grabbing more pigment, but it's also eating the pencil up quite a lot because there's the rough tooth of the paper. So let's do so that's the chroma flow first of all. Now the Derwent drawing. Now just because one may come out brighter white than another, or rather one may come out not so bright as the other, doesn't mean there's anything right or wrong with any pencil. It just means that you would just use it for a slightly different application. I quite often will use one like a Pro Colour that doesn't release a huge amount of pigment. Because I don't want pencil in certain places to be releasing a lot of pigment. Right, you can instantly see, hopefully, how much brighter it is showing up over here. Can you see? I can hardly, this is the same pressure here that I'm using over here, but here you're seeing that lovely variation in pressure so much more because there's less tooth. It's smoother. The rough paper, it's grabbing more of the pigment. Remember, it's designed for pastel, so it's designed to grip the pigment, but saying that, it's also got a real high visibility of the tooth. So I'm going to come in next with sharpening up my pencil. We're going to do those little flicks with our pencil as well, just to see what shows up. So I'll do a really light pressure one, and I'll come across and I'll press a little bit harder. Just going to keep turning it. That's nice. So let's try the same on here. I think this is going to go. Let's just sharpen again. Make sure it's nice and fair. Okay, so here it is wearing down very quickly, but it's still allowing me to do a decent line in there, but it's just grabbing it quite harshly. So here is the Derwent drawing, light pressure. We'll increase our pressure a little bit to do our flicks, and again, it's wearing down. The mixed media paper is nicer than, it's holding the point on there longer than it did on the Lightfast paper. So here, pretty consistent. That's pretty good. I'm impressed with that. Oh, that was Derwent drawing. So here we've got our Lightfast. I expect this to perform very similar to the chroma flow. It's very consistent. I'm keeping turning the pencil, and that is maintained on that media. I'm loving that Derwent media paper then. It's true black and it's very, very smooth, and it's allowing us to be quite consistent with our strokes. So over here, it's wearing my pencil down quite quickly. It's wearing that Lightfast down quite quickly there. Okay. So at the moment I'm preferring to work on here, even though I usually will use a textured paper. For white on black, this smooth paper is working really nicely. So I want to just test out a little bit of the vibrancy. So I'm going to get what is the equivalent of the yellow ochre, so the brown sugar, the sea spice and the lavender ash. I just want to lay down a couple of blocks of colour here and see how bright they come up. So we're just going to do 1, 2, 3, 4 layers. It's come out quite true to colour. Let's do the same with the spice. Now sometimes when working on black paper, the colour doesn't come up very vibrant. It comes up quite see-through, quite translucent, so you need to then put a white or a yellow or another colour underneath to make it then visible. But this mixed media paper with the chroma flow, the colour is going down pretty true. That is nice. And so when they said it works beautifully on the mixed media paper, they weren't fibbing. Okay, so we'll do the same over here. Now again, I expect this to grip a lot more, and it is. But it's also going to take a huge amount of layers. You can see, hopefully you can see, I'm using the same pressure. Look at the vibrancy over on the rough paper. So the rough paper, textured paper, is very forgiving. You can't erase on it. That's the chroma flow. Let's get the equivalent in our tum. So this is the Derwent drawing. So we'll do 1, 2, 3. I'm just wondering now if we did 4 layers over there or 3. Okay, I'm doing 4 here. I've got a feeling I only did 3 layers there. But this is a side by side, not so much of the Derwent drawing versus the chroma flow on each one. It's more to show you the Derwent drawing on here and the Derwent drawing over here. So I'm just going to go in and just do 3 layers on this side, just because I know I did 4. No, we'll do 4 because I know I've definitely done 4 with the drawing. Okay. I should write a little tally down as I go. 2, 3, 4. 1. Okay. 2, 3, 4. I'm really pleased with how this is performing, but can you see this should now be showing you the difference, even more so the difference between a smooth and a textured paper. You just go with whichever effect you're looking for in a piece. So that was Derwent drawing. So now we're doing Derwent Lightfast at the bottom. So again, I'll try and remember to do 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we can do a direct comparison of this one with the drawing. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 4. 4. Finally, 1, 2, 3, 4. Fab. So like I say, that quite clearly, I'm going to just do one layer of, which one's the brightest? I'm just going to do one layer of our white as well. Again, like you say, you can just see three, 4. So that's one layer of white, that's 4. Always using the same pressure. You can just see how much a textured paper grips the pigment. If you want something that's more muted, it's still showing the colours beautifully on this mixed media. I know I've used a lot of papers, it's not shown the colour as much as this. As far as the comparison of the pencils, now, because I was worried that I didn't do 4 layers, I'm going to just add another layer there, so it's going to be 4 or 5. I think I only put 3 layers there originally, so I think it's brought it up to 4. You guys can probably count. But that, even with the extra layer to possibly make it a 5th layer, you can see that just how opaque and bright the Derwent drawing are. So if you want to use that as a base and then come in and use your chroma flow or your Lightfast over the top for details, that was what I was talking about, and that is why I love the Derwent drawing, for blocking in, filling the tooth, especially of textured papers, to allow me to then come in over the top. I could come in over the top now with my black. So let's come in with our black. This is the Lightfast. It's gripping really nicely there. And it's also gripping beautifully on that mixed media. Oh, I'm looking forward to trying this. It's the first time I've used it. So here's our black Derwent drawing. Again, beautifully grip on there. On the chroma flow, it's a much finer line. So again, for your details, the chroma flow is coming in fab. All of these are just little experiments. Try tons of things out yourself. Get to know your papers, get to know your pencils. This is just a quick rundown to show you a little some side-by-side comparisons of those light papers. Let me bring those back in. Let's bring those back in up here. Oh, we had them down below, didn't we? I'll just pop them underneath. Of the smooth paper, you want to try out, if you're not sure of whether to use smooth paper or textured, try it. Get some Pastelmat, Mi-Teintes Touch. That's the first time I've used the Mi-Teintes Touch like that, to be fair. If you're not sure about which pencils to use, buy open stock. Buy a few of each. That's my best tip. If you can afford to buy the sets of each one, go for it. But don't try to make the Derwent drawing pencils do something like fine detail, because they won't. Use them for what they're best at, which is a real nice, thick, opaque, bright, colourful, well, muted colours, but, you know, bright. They fill intensity, saturation of hue and colour and pigment down on your paper. The chroma flow, again, lays down beautifully, especially on the smooth paper. The Lightfast I prefer on the textured paper. The Derwent drawing, definitely on the textured paper as well. Remember to preserve your lights on your smooth paper. You can preserve your darks on your smooth paper as well, but you can bring your dark pencil in over the top. Advantages, swings and roundabouts for each pencil and each surface. You need to try these, like I say, and find what works for you. I tend to flit about. I've got my preferred textures like my Pastelmat. I don't tend to use the smoother papers, but now that I've tried this, I'm definitely going to try the mixed media paper now with my pencil work for when I want a nice soft muted effect. I know the metallic pencils work beautifully on there as well. They combine beautifully with the Chroma Flow as well, so that is going to be a fab combination. As you can see, way too much to try and fit in on just one video. This was just to show a side-by-side, two different types of paper and two colours of paper. So I hope you gleaned something from that, and I will continue to do these little short videos for you as well. So if there's anything you'd like to see, just let me know. Thank you for watching.